everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and I'm so excited to bring you a collaboration of sketch-inspired One Sketch, Two Ways with Vanessa and Lisa. This is a sketch we're going to be using this week, and I started out with Elle Studio's Sunny Days. This is a 6x6 collection, and I'm using these pictures of my nephew Malachi when he came to visit. There was this really cool pool that we went to that had these like floating disc in the middle, and then a rope at the top that he was able to climb up or climb over and use the rope to help him get across. So he had a lot of fun going across that several times. So as I'm getting everything here ready to set out for this sketch, I wanted to tell you a little bit about this sketch. Vanessa and I are working, we will have 4 sketches where we use a sketch and show you 2 different ways that we can use it. And the fun part is, because I'm a 2-page scrapbooker, Vanessa is a 1-page scrapbooker, every layout that we do, you're going to have the option to do the sketch as a 1-page or a 2-page. So this week we're doing a 1-page sketch, and I am making a 2-page layout, and Vanessa's making a 1-page layout. Next week we will do a 2-page sketch where I create a 2-page layout, and Vanessa will again create a 1-page layout. And then we have 2 other sketches that we'll use, another 1-page and another 2-page. So I think you're going to get lots of inspiration from the sketch, and I'm so excited because Vanessa is an awesome scrapbooker. I've seen tons of her videos, and I love everything that she does. So I picked out some of these different papers from the Sunny Days collection from Elle Studio, and now what I'm going to do is the left-hand side is going to look like the sketch. I followed the sketch very closely on the left-hand side. And the right-hand side, what I decided to do was continue out the block look that the left-hand side provides. So I'm still using blocks of paper like the left-hand side, just making them a little bit bigger. And I love using that technique of putting the paper behind the photos and laying the photos on top of it. But I actually don't end up doing that for this particular one. So then I pulled out this yellow, and I realized that I liked the yellow, that pale yellow behind the paper more than I like the white. So I'm going to pick everything up, and I'm going to use the pale yellow as my background. And then I use that brighter yellow as the rectangle piece on the left-hand side to stretch across the whole layout. So you'll see here that I bring out the photos, and I'm trying to decide how big I need to make the strip of paper. So I'm going to cut it. I think I ended up cutting it 6x12, and I decided to trim down my photos a little bit. They were 4x6 photos, and I trimmed them on each side, so it's like 3 1/4 by 4 or 3 1/4 by 6. But then realized that if I wanted to use the 6x6 paper, I needed to trim down the edges as well. So I think the photos became 3 1/4 by 5. I'm sorry, 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So just took 1/4 of an inch off each side. So now I'm just, this is when I realized that the paper I'm using isn't going to work with the yellow paper. So I moved the smaller ones to the top, and the bigger ones and I was going to use the bigger ones at the bottom, but then I ended up changing it all together. So I'm going to lay my photos out and figure out which arrangement I want them in. And I wanted to make it look like he was actually walking across the lake or walking across the pool. So this is where I pull out another 6x6 sheet of paper, as well as the 3x4 cards. And I pulled that one out particularly because it made me think of a towel, like a beach towel. I've seen lots of towels that look like that. So I thought that tied in really well to the water and the pool aspect of this layout. So here I'm showing you how I store my inks. I keep them in this container that I got at Joann's, and I keep all of them. I think there's like 3 or 4 different layers, and then I keep my brush tool that you attach the pads to at the bottom in the very last compartment. So I'm going to cut a little bit off of the paper on the left because I realized that the sketch didn't go all the way across it. It had some white space on the far left-hand side. I'm going to get my T-square ruler out and lay everything down. I don't think I have you guys watch all of this. Just the beginning of it, and then magically through YouTube, it's all completed. So after I get all of my background done, then I lay my photos out again, and I'm going to adhere those down as well. And then I started to embellish, and I pulled out some of these other pieces from, this is also from Elle Studio, from their Sunny Days collections as well. And this little tag is what I end up making my title. And it says, this is what life is all about. Because I think about myself as a kid and playing in the pool and just being, having free spirit, not thinking about anything else, but trying to get across the pool. And that's really a kind of a metaphor in life, right? That's all we're trying to do is just get across the hurdle or whatever that we're going through right now. So I really thought that was kind of a perfect fit for these photos, because it's really nothing more than him just having fun in the pool. So now I'm just adding a few more embellishments from the Elle Studio line. I love those sunglasses. I think they're so funky and cool. And so you're going to add this sun up there at the top. And it's funny because I kept turning it around, but then I realized it was a square, so it really didn't matter. And so I wanted to add these labels from Elle Studio to the edge of the left-hand side of the paper next to that striped. I wanted the sketch showed a piece at the edge there, so I wanted to be able to mimic that just a little bit. So I got these are the only things that were not Elle Studio that I used. These are from Keller's Creations, and the dog image at the bottom of the sketch, I wanted a circular image down there as well because I am going to sketch around it. And I couldn't find anything within the Elle Studio line. So I turned to Keller's Creations for these 3 pieces. And I think at the end, after I get them all laid down, is when I show you the line that they come from for Keller's Creations. So they are just beachy perfect pieces from Keller's Creations, and you can find that at acidfree.com. So this is where I pull my sewing machine out, and I'm actually going to stitch 2 straight lines down the far left-hand side. And then I had this scrap photo that I didn't end up using. And so I punched out a 3-inch circle and then used a pencil to draw my pencil lines around it so it'd make it a little easier for sewing. And I did not realize that my tripod was sitting right against the table. So every time I was trying to sew this around, it was knocking it, but it'll stop just here and just shortly. So I'll show you there that I did this big circle stitching and then those 2 lines, and you can really see it on the black thread. I kind of actually wish I had used black thread, but the black didn't really fit. So the white thread is there, and it's not as noticeable as it would have been if it was black. So just adding a few extra embellishments. I added my journaling, and now I'm going to put the date on. And I actually ended up not getting the year on there altogether, so I used the little tissue paper there to hide the rest of it so I can get the last little number on. So that's my layout. I have linked Vanessa's sketch below, so feel free to check it out. Here is the final shot of the layout. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you next week for another episode of One Sketch, Two Ways.